Hello. We're here. We're doing it. Good morning, evening, afternoon, etc., etc. Matthias, hello. Ooh. Greco, hello. Josh, hello. Betty, hello. We're doing it. We are greeting like civilized people. I have almost no plan for today. It's going to be, we've got to do more. Level editor needs more and better. So we're going to do it based on feel, vibes, not vibe coding, obviously, but vibe spec driven development. Julian, hello. Andrew, hello. I think like some stuff we need, I know there's a bug in the drop down menu we need to fix, and then the raycasting in the scene is not optimal. We went to all that effort to create those beautiful AAVBs and render them, and we do not use them. So we need to accelerate that. We need snapping. Snap, snap, snap. Gabriel, hello. I think I may have to do some basic form of civilization soon as well, because if we want to start building out a level to play with, I don't want to be rebuilding it every time we play. So I might just dump everything to like a YAML file and then gut that code later when something better comes along. Undecided. AC, hello. He's here. Vajoxy, hello. So yeah, I don't know. I'm going to kind of wing it a little bit, which kind of, by winging it today, that kind of presupposes I always have a plan, which I don't at all. So I'm definitely going to wing it more than I usually do. Olivia, hello. I'm going to probably do skeleton animation because I have done that before, and it's a massive ball ache, but I think it'd be fun to do again. I've not looked at that in many years, so I think I will purchase a license for a enemy model and then get some rigs for it, and then we'll play around with that. I think that could be fun. I really want to do a ragdoll as well. I think that could be fun. Blurry, yes. Wednesdays and Sundays are my go-to streaming days. That just works out not too bad with my schedule. Right, let's press a button. I think this one is a good one. Okay. Right. Can I be more center? I feel like I'm not center enough. Right. Okay, let's have a quick recap. Where we're at. I pressed the timestamp button. I remembered. I think I did all the things correctly in the right order today, but thanks for checking. Okay, so we got this, okay, which we can kind of move around and is kind of like okay. It's got some normal mapping, it's got some textures, it's got some other bits and bobs. It looks kind of okay, kind of lost in the negative space. And then we've got a little editor here, so we can see the various parts of the G buffer, and then we combine them all in a light pass. And then we can click. This will give us the green, which has a little bit of Z fighting, but what you're going to do is the overall AABB, and then you've got the AABB of the submeshes, and then we can kind of move this around and rotate it and scale it, and it all kind of works. And then we can move the lights around. So, one thing I want to do is I want to render a cube at the point of the light so we can click it, because at the moment the only way you can select a light at the moment is if you first unselect a model and then select a light in this editor here, and it's a massive pain. Around, hello. So I don't know if there's like a solved thing for Z fighting. What we could do is just like scale that mesh by like 1.001 or something, just to make it like it's like a tiny little bit bigger. Only on the rendering side as well, so it wouldn't affect the clicking. So we might have a look at that. And then at the moment, what we can do is that, so there's a bug here which we need to fix. This should list all the meshes that are available, like loaded into the mesh manager, and we should be able to click one and load another one. And at the moment, all we do is just load whatever the last one was, and it has the wrong name. So that's probably the first thing we're going to fix, because it'd be nice to. I think the first thing we're going to do is load a different part of the level. So this is like a cross section. There's other little corridor bits. So let's get 2 or 3 in there so we can move them around. Then we'll do snapping, and then. I mean, that's 2 hours of work for me because I'm not very good at this. So, but we'll see where we're after that. But I would like to render out a something on for the lights as well, so we can click those, because this is a massive pain. Cool. Okay. So I think we're in a pretty much clean Git state. Yes, I've bodged a lot of the code. All this code is bodged. Okay, so let's go to. I think we're already in the debug renderer. So somewhere down here. Right. So there's a lot to not like about this. So here we have the mesh names drop down. So this is using imgui for anyone who's unaware or new or has forgotten. This is what creates the drop down, and then we populate that with selectable things. But at the moment, the mesh, it comes from all the mesh names, but I think this is the sub meshes, right? So I guess let's have a look at mesh manager. I think I really couldn't be able to think too hard about this in the last stream. So every time you load a mesh, we must do that in a loop. So I hadn't really thought about this. So meshes consist of sub meshes. Interesting actually. So the issue is, in fact, I think we can see it here. Let's just get this up. So we have one mesh which has like 9 submeshes, and we name those like mesh name underscore 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's what we're getting here. You can see that here. What we need a way is, so we need to. I wonder if. Okay, I think Mesh Manager might need a bit of a refactor. Because at the moment, I think load might be too lower level primitive. I think load is basically loading a sub mesh, right? Which is in itself a mesh view. Yes, also we just pull off back as well, which I know that, but what I want to do is I want to fix the list first, because I think this is going to be where we need to re-architect things. So at the moment, so let's go to main, right? Let's go to where all our misery starts. So here, right? So this is this. I hadn't considered this. This is the issue, right? So the moment we loop through all the models, right? So the model gets loaded from the async code, but you don't have to worry about the implementation. It returns back a vector of model data, so actual collections of vertices and indices. It goes through each of those and it loads them. So interesting. So where's submesh used? Is that in entity? Submesh. I think we need another layer of abstraction, because you can solve all problems with another layer of abstraction, right? So I'm just going to start puzzling this out myself and just see where we get to. I think what Mesh Manager needs to have is like load submesh. Okay. They do all have the same name, but we force them to be unique here with this format. I guess what I'm thinking is like, what semantically, what do you ever want to pull out of the mesh manager? I think it's unlikely we'll ever need to pull out a submesh. I don't think that makes any sense. So I wonder if fundamentally, do we make a fundamental change to mesh view? Is this something like submesh view? And then mesh view is, I don't think I like this, but just bear with me while I need to puzzle this out in my head. I don't like that. I am worried we're going to get conflated with terms of like mesh and submesh and stuff like that and mesh view, but I think we can probably fix that in part of this refactor. So I think what the mesh manager, the only thing I ever need to put out the mesh manager is all the meshes associated with the submesh. So all the submeshes associated with the mesh. So out of the 9, if you think of that one thing we've rendered, right, that one, call it one whole mesh with the 9 submeshes, I don't think I'm ever going to need to get just like the pipes out of it. Do you know what I mean? But I will need to get all of those so I can render a duplicate. So I think mesh manager needs a bit of a semantic change. What to? Hang on 1 second. Right. Okay. Okay. Right. So either load submesh, right? Or load becomes the span of const submesh mesh data, something like that. I'm trying to work out what my primitives are. I think that's what I'm getting stuck on, is I can't in my mind figure out what I want, because I've got mesh, mesh view, and submesh, and I think those are all kind of not quite right. So I think we want, and we've got mesh data as well. So we got mesh data, right, which is the actual real data. We've got mesh view, which is effectively a non-owning view into global mesh array. And then we've got submesh, which is a, what is a submesh? That is a mesh view with, I call it rendering data, right? Because it's got a material index and ABB, so that's very much, in fact, this is even in, only pointed to my screen then, like that's in use 21. Submesh is in core, it's not even in graphics. That kind of suggests it's not just a pure rendering primitive. And then we've got also got model data, but I think then we've got model data, which is mesh data with optional textures, and then we've got the mesh manager, which is like manages meshes ? So I think that's a little, I think maybe now is a good time to kind of reevaluate all these names, because these have evolved quite organically. What we need, I think, let's talk in terms of like semantics. Oh, sorry, no AI means like no like AI LLM code gen, basically. So I'm not here vibe coding this or using core code or anything like that. Like there will be some level of like AI, as in like game behavior, but yeah. Yeah, that's cool. Reflection's cool. I like reflection. I'm looking forward to getting it. Okay, so let's talk about semantics. So we need something that owns the raw data. Okay. We need something that, I feel like I'm just writing out what I had above. We need some way of represents. So we need the non-owning view into the global mesh, right? And then I think this like submesh and stuff is a little bit complicated. I think we need a thing we can render. So what does entity have? Entity just has submeshes. Okay. I think we just need something that wraps submeshes. I think that's it. But then I'm worried this is gonna. But then I don't really want to bring like the concept of like material IDs and stuff. No, collision meshes, potentially there could be collision meshes, but I'm not worried about that at the moment. I'm more just about the rendering at the moment. I think that what's really getting me down is the idea that this submesh has material index and an AABB. I think that's stopping me kind of building a better abstraction. You'll get a default texture. No, because the issue is that I need to preload all the models and all the meshes, right? That's the issue. They all need to be preloaded, and then you might only create like 3 entities. Do you know what I mean? So I had this thought originally. It's like, well, I could just loop through all the entities and populate the list from that. Yeah, so mesh locator, so offset and length of indices into global buffers. So your mesh locator is basically my mesh view, okay, for the moment. Like we can change the name later. What I need is so when do I ever need to get a mesh? I think this is. I think I'm seeing it. I think I'm getting it. I think this is easier than I maybe thought. I kind of want model data to be just purely vertices, right? So, and at the moment, I think that is the case, right? So if we have an entity, oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, so I think, yeah. I think submesh might be the wrong name, but let's go with it, because let me just pull out what I'm thinking. I think load, right? Yeah, I think it is. I think it's a renderable object. I think you might be right. And I think that's where I'm getting confused. So let's say for load, right? Let's give it like the parent. I think this might be right. Okay, I think a mesh gives you, when you load it, you give it a name and say all these bits of mesh data represent like this bigger mesh, and then this will give you back the vector of mesh views. Okay, so we say this is geometry piece, I don't know, corridor 2, and it consists of all these bits of mesh data. So then I can always get back those bits of the views there over all those. So if I say in the future, oh, I need to get back corridor piece 2, I can put corridor 2 in here, and then I'll get back all the mesh views over that. I'm thinking this might actually be a span, and I think I'm not going to live to regret that. And then mesh names just gives us all the names here. So basically, rather than, you would no longer need to call this in a loop, right, at the moment, and put them in one by one. You would call this once with all the gubbins, okay? And then from the mesh views, we can then build up what is the submesh, which we might rename to like a renderable. So the assets are comprised of multiple smaller meshes. That's the problem. When I load in one FBX file, it shits out like 9 models. So I'm kind of still trying to keep that those semantics through the rest of the game. I could optionally break it out, but then I would still have to have some way of tying those together so that when I move them, they will have the same transformation matrix. Yeah, feel free to. I'm going to keep going with this design, but feel free to dump stuff because I'm happy to go with it. A span is a non-owning view over some contiguous memory, right? So it's a pointer and a size, and that's all it is. It just basically means that you don't own the data that this is encapsulating, but it's cheap to kind of copy around, and but you don't own it. It kind of imposes those semantics. Whereas if I return a vector, I would be returning effectively a fresh copy of that data, which like it's not the end of the world, but it does have some semantic differences. Yeah, you can think of it like span is just like a generic string. If you've used string view before, span is like a more generic one that works with any contiguous data structure. Okay, I think I'm getting there, right? So this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. So our string map of mesh view actually becomes a stood vector of mesh view. Yeah, I mean, all of C++ is tricky if you're not careful, right? But yeah, it obviously does convey. Span should convey the notion of ownership semantics, as in like you do not own this, so do not persist it, and be careful where you tuck it away. But again, the whole point of the game is that we just allocate everything at the beginning, create all these, load everything from disk or whatever, create these managers, and then they're mostly like immutable from then. So we're kind of happy to hand out spans. That's kind of more of the philosophy that I'm going for. So I've thought about doing the transform hierarchy, but I just don't know if I need it there yet. Almost like a scene graph, right? But I don't know if that's just offloading the complexity then to a scene graph, which I don't need a scene graph at the moment. I don't need the ability to attach things to other things and have that transformation hierarchy. No, because each submesh has different textures. This is the key issue that I found is that each submesh has different textures. Is that right? They have different textures? Yeah, you see, look, this we load this. There has 11 meshes, right? This SM corner 01888X, right? And then one of the submeshes uses metal plate 02 base color, normal and metallic. One of them uses detailed BG base color. So So yeah, that was the issue I had. Is I kind of need to treat them as individual renderable entities, but for the purpose of like higher level game logic, I want just like one thing that I can transform. And this is kind of the mess, for want of a better word, that I'm in. So we kind of have the hierarchy already, right? They just don't share. They just always inherit the parent transform. That's how it works at the moment, right? We have entity has a transform, and then when we render each of the submeshes, right, and the submesh has I think I'm going to change submesh. I might call it like renderable, like renderable entity or something like that. Each one of those just gets the parent transform. There's nothing to stop us in the future then adding another transform here and multiplying it by the parent one. But for now, I think submesh is wrong because it is model data, material data, and an AABB. So I think we're kind of there. I think the issue I have really is just that my mesh manager is just returning the wrong data. Oh Christ! What does all this work? So for const auto mesh. Is it meshes? Peru, hello. Okay, so that kind of works. So this will construct the mesh view, and then auto mesh views equals stood vector mesh view. CT here. Mesh views dot pushback. And then in place mesh views, return mesh views. Not sure if that's no, it's not gonna work for me. Const auto iter equals that. Turn iter, I think. Okay. Oh, how kind. Thank you so much. I will have a cold one on you. I have no beers in the fridge for today, so but next time I buy beer, I will think of you. Oh, mate, when's the Vulkan version? I want to get the OpenGL version working first. Okay, so I think this is fine. It's a bit annoying to have to use a boomer loop here, but I think it probably makes sense because there's quite a lot of logic that goes in here. And then this becomes... This basically stays the same, but we have const mesh view. And that's it, right? I think it's... Obviously the interface has changed elsewhere, so... Wow. You should find that person. I cannot take credit for the term boomer loop, but I don't really like loops. I'd rather use ranges, so... I think Vittorio came up with the term boomer loop, but I do like it, so I've co-opted it. Okay, so now... So rather than loading the individual ones, I think I need to... Again, I think I need a separation here. Because getting there. I'm getting there. Right, so Mesh Manager now gives me the loaded mesh, all the mesh views. So then entity oh, how kind. Thank you so much. Very kind of you. Sorry, I should probably click the like button on these. That's how you know I appreciate it. That physical action has gone into that. Very kind. Sorry, questions while I think about this in the back of my head. Yes, I do all the editing myself and the thumbnails, which is why they're probably not great, but it is what it is. I'm a one-man band, figuring it all out as I go along. I think it's just important to write code. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, for me anyway. I mean, I do use like LLMs and stuff for work, for like generating code that I do find some benefit in churning out code that I know how to write. It's quicker for me to offload it, but I do find that it becomes a bit of a crutch. And for me, it's very important still to write code. So at least twice a week. More than that because I'm working on videos, but at least twice a week, I'm here and I'm writing C++ from scratch. It's just an LSP language server protocol under the hood. It just points at ClangD. Okay, right. So I think the entity now kind of changes because I don't want to give it the sub meshes, or I want to construct the sub meshes outside. I think I'm going to get it working, then I'm going to rename submesh. Why does submesh need mesh manager? Because it needs to put out the ABB. Okay, that's fine. So I think what I can do is have auto mesh views equals stirred vector mesh views equals mesh manager dot load name models. What's models when it's at home? That is a load model. That is a model data. Right. Okay, fine. Let's get a little bit messy now, but let's see if we can just get this working, and then we can kind of figure out what better way, like what a better shape for this is. Because I think I need to pass. I still need to pass these textures out. So this needs to be the views transform const auto e return e dot mesh data. Oh, might not be able to. Ugh, God, so complex. Right. Why is it not like that? Cannot bind temporary of transform. I wonder if it can't turn that into a span. I wonder if it loses the notion that it's contiguous from it. Yeah, I was really hoping to avoid that because it just feels like a lot of allocations going on, but it's not the end of the world. What I might do actually is let's do mesh data stood vector UFPS mesh data. Okay, fine. Let's do that. Okay, because I have to loop through these to pull out the texture data. So let's do const auto, nope, what can't be const, auto materials equals stud vector UFPS, nope, stud uint32t. All right, so let's construct vector gore. Let's construct these two vectors, and then here we will do materials dot pushback, and then we will do mesh data dot pushback model dot mesh data. Okay. So this now gives us effectively all the information we need to now construct that set of those sub meshes. Okay, so now what I can do is I think this then becomes const auto. Let's do stud views zip of mesh data materials. Pipe that to stud views transform const auto e and then const auto what did I mesh material equals e. Then I can return UFPS submesh hang on. Const auto mesh views equals mesh manager. Here we go. Dot load name sub mesh data. Okay, and then this becomes mesh views, and then this becomes mesh view, and then returning mesh view material. That's it. What's else in submesh? Mesh manager. So that would then be, I would need to capture that into there, mesh manager, and that would be mesh manager. Could optionally pull the AAB out, but I don't think I want to. Okay. And then we can do, and then that just remains the same, right? Progress is a little bit slow, but we're getting there. We're definitely getting there. Okay. Why is it not like this? Const, do we say? But that is const mesh data. It's makefile, but it drives. The build system is generated. The build system is Ninja, generated via CMake, which I drive through a makefile. Why does it not like that? Because that is definitely mesh data, right? There should just be a span over mesh data. Non-const reference to span could not bind to value of stud vector mesh data. Span. Cannot bind to a value of unrelated type mesh data. Yeah, but surely const is more restrictive, right? Surely I should be able to construct a const span over non-const data, just not the other way around, right? Data, but surely like const is just a contract you enter into with the compiler, right? Like obviously it has inference on types and stuff like that, but I feel like we have this conversation like every few streams, and maybe I still just don't fully understand it. But why can I not have a const view over something non-const? I know I can't have it the other way around. Errors, 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 errors. Exactly, yeah. I understand that obviously. Oh god, that's a nightmare doing this elsewhere. I've just forgot about that. E is just the name of the element I give to during the view, right? You call it whatever you want. I just do E because I'm lazy. I don't think I am, because like if we look at Mesh Manager interface, it's a span of const mesh data, right? And this here is a vector of mesh data. I don't understand why this cannot be data mesh data dot data plus mesh data dot. So that's effectively what I'm trying to do. Oh, hang on. I think I know the issue. I know the issue. I'm an absolute fool. Absolute fool. I don't need this to be a reference, do I? Spans are cheap to copy. I'm trying, and because it was non-const, you can't bind. Non-const references don't extend lifetime. So that'll work. So that's fine. Now it doesn't like me pushing back the entity. I suspect it doesn't like this constructor now. Vector of submesh, because it takes O by value. So in fact, actually, should I move that? That's C++. The whole thing just explodes. Why is that not liking that? Because I'm pretty sure this takes a vector of submeshes, and this isn't. No. It's just a range at the moment, isn't it? There we go. There we go. Now we're cooking. So the issue there was that without this, it's still a lightweight, non-like copyable range, right? This reifies it to a vector, obviously. Right. Okay. Well, 45 minutes in, and I've done nothing, so that's grand. I think this is better. I will rename once this is working. I think I will rename submesh because I think it's really confusing what it is now. I think just render entity. I think entity could just own a render entity. I really don't think that's a bad thing. Okay, fine. So the render itself. Ugh. Right. Okay. This is a bit of a mess now because this has to create a sprite. Why? What have I changed? I've changed so much. So take a vector submesh, and the submesh load now. Returns the view of them. So I think, does that just now need to be dot front? Load sprite needs to be a vector. It needs to be a span, which I might not be able to do. Yeah, okay, fine. That's, to be honest, I really should have pulled this out anyway. So, what is type? What is type? Entity. Okay. Let's just pull this straight out. Okay, so we want to have the const auto mesh manager. Okay, right. So we got that. We got that. Hello. Okay, so we can then do const auto mesh views equals mesh manager dot load sprite, and then hang on, const auto mesh data equals std vector sprite, and then this becomes mesh data, and then finally we can now return entity, which is the process sprite. Mesh views 0u mesh manager. What do you not like about that? Christ, I bet it's so complicated. It's right. We'll get there. Okay, we will get there. I can't remember some of the shit I've written. That's the problem. Can I... Wait a minute. Oh, hang on. I see what the issue is. Dot front. Get rid of that. Stick another bracket there. We're getting closer. can it not infer that this is a vector of submeshes? Oh, hang on. Yeah, there's a couple of reasons why I won't look at a newer version of Denuvo. One, it's I can no way advocate piracy, and I would never look at anything that would impact sales of an active game. So looking at older ones for like the educational value, I think is fine, but looking at more recent ones, I just don't think is really something I'm willing to do. And two, they're really fucking complex, and I really struggled with the old version, so I just don't think I've. It's not a challenge I'm kind of looking. I'm looking for at the moment. I code for the fun of it, right? Like I know you're clearly trolling and rage baiting, right? Because it's fun. If you don't find it fun, then go find something that you do find fun. I mean, I'm not having fun at this very minute because this is an absolute pain in the ass. But all right, so what am I missing from submesh? So that'd be the mesh view, which comes from that single mesh views, and then material index. Mesh manager. I'm very concerned. Let me wire this up into this because this is a hot mess. Create sprite. Mesh manager. Let's get the actual. So I need to see the compiler error. Yeah, I know. Could not convert this. Yeah, why? What's it? Which one's he not liking about entity? I don't think it's to do with the type deduction because it can infer that from the return type. Thanks for joining us for Joxy. Have a good one. See you later. Oh, I am amalgamating myself to this error. Could not convert a string. Oh, hang on. I think as always, I'm missing some extra brackets because it's not a vector. I was just constructing a single submesh and passing in where I expect a vector of them, even though there's only a vector of one. I don't think that industry. I think industry planted red herrings is a massive tinfoil hat view. Personally, I just think that there are people latch on to ideas and sort of lose sight that those ideas maybe work only in certain and specific situations, and they're not all like generic solutions. There's multiple ways of solving a problem, and that one thing you hear of might not actually be the best way for it. And people just just latch onto ideas. This will work. Aaron, barely done a refactor. Absolutely. Whoa! I have made this much worse. that is something else. That there's a Discord if you're interested. Yeah, that is wild. Look, ooh, hang on. So the question is, like, what happens if I spawn something else in? Yeah, I'm drawing all the right triangles, just not necessarily in the right order. Oh, I keep pressing. Sorry, I keep pressing the wrong button. How weird! Something is awry here. It had the right shape-ish though, or he must move what I use the shift key to somewhere else. How weird is that? That's going to crash. Okay, let's have a real deep think about this. Oh mate, unfortunately there's nothing to bisect. It's somewhere in this because I'm not committed to anything. I'm an hour into the stream and I've not made a single commit, and all I've done is make a mess of it. Right, okay. Let's walk through this. I am suspecting. What am I suspecting? What am I thinking? Someone said index data. It does look like the index data is shafted. So it's probably going to be a mesh manager, right? Oh, do we need to update these per iteration? Because otherwise we're going to be writing over previous data. Absolutely fucking nailed it. I could see it. Do you know what I mean? I could see it. And this still works. Oh, beautiful. Take this. And look, there's only one thing in here now with the right name, so I can spawn this and I can click this. Bish, bash, bosh. Let's commit this up, and then we'll rename submesh to something more sensible, and then we will we'll load a new mesh in, and then we'll fix the drop-down menu just picking the last thing, because I know that's wrong. It's just sometimes you get lucky and the stars align and you can just fix the miserable bug straight away. Obviously someone better than I would not have made that mistake in the first place, but I'll take what victories I can get. Yeah, I went through the 5 stages of grief. I speed ran the 5 stages of grief there. Okay, I think this is all pretty one big commit. Like none of these are going to be atomic, but so mesh manager returns span of mesh views, and then this is render my go-to commit when I can't think of what to write. Just integrate some changes, mate. Done it. Bish bash bosh. Right. Yeah, it's a sub module that points to a private repo, basically. So you can't build the code, but you can substitute your own assets in, but you should be able to see the code. Or you might be able to build it and not run it, depending on how you do the assets, but you can always build the artifact. If I'm bisecting and it's an integration commit, I'm buggered anyway, right? Because it means like all the other commits that I've marked as good, I've just probably not like exercised. Okay, right. So let's do git mov source. Nope. Git mov source core sub mesh dot h2. Why is my auto tab complete suddenly decided it's not going to work? Fine. Source core render entity. I think the previous bisect was for the race condition, yeah. Okay. And then git move source core submesh .cpp to source, careful, core render entity.cpp. Yeah, git mob's the thing, right? So it just automatically moves. It also it tags it as a move commit rather than an addition or delete it, because Git only works on files, right? It a lot of the time when you rename a file, Git is smart enough to realize that delete and add is a move, but this just explicitly makes it so. Right, so let's go render entity. I was like, such a. Oh, ClangD's crashed. That's fine. I'll restart that in a minute. Wow, will not even let me save this file. And just for your AI people out there, I will disable Copilot. Okay, so oh god, yeah, right. SG submesh control Q CDO %s submesh render entity /g. I think it's. Has it done it? Okay. It's not gonna like it in hash include. Oh, I've got transitive include here anyway. Render entity. Entity. So I should be able to do sg sub mesh dot h. Okay. Control Q cdo %s slash sub mesh dot h render entity dot h. Oops, steady dot h dash g. Ooh. And then cmake. It's called cmake. Let's render entity. Let's try that. Yeah. Oh, it didn't work. How sad. Oh, I didn't save the file. It maybe did work, and I just don't know how to use Vim. So I've thought about adding chat overlays to the stream, but one, gotta make sure it doesn't interfere with the shorts, and two, I don't. Well, actually, no. The real reason I've not done it is because up until recently, it was against the Twitch terms of service to show the chat on screen from another streaming service. I think they might have changed that now. So I don't know. Are people interested in that? Is having the chat on screen? No, and also the other issue is like I have a lot of text on screen. So where would you put it? Do you know what I mean? That's my other concern. Is like a lot of this stream is text based, and I'm worried having lots of text on screen moving would be distracting. So actually, now that I think of it, there's 3 or 4 reasons why I've not done it. You maybe have to have it scrolling along the bottom. I don't know. Is that useful? Yeah, just slap it over this loser here. Okay, so now that we've got that, let's do this. So let's rename submesh to render entity. And now the last thing I've got is I will have somewhere submesh is, because I'll have function names and stuff like that. So Control Q, CDO, %s, submeshes becomes render entities. If I typoed. End heights. Good. Okay, don't worry. End height. Control Q. CDO. %s. End heights. Entities. Okay. I think that's fine. So there's no there's any sort of submesh going on. Render entity. Render entity. Whew, right, getting there. Getting there. I'll probably leave it as is, because this is the first time someone's recalled for it, so I think I need to have like a massive consensus that it would improve the stream for the majority of people. I'm kind of happy not having it. Okay. Let's amend that commit. Okay, fine. Decent. Let's load something else. So now main has many a problem. I like C#. I think it's a great language. So I think it's a good language. I think it's just fun to do stuff without AI sometimes. Like, you know, sometimes it's just fun to write code. Projects. Is that what we're doing? Is this a project? I think so. Secret assets. Models. So we've got, what have we got so far? We got a Sun Corner 01888X. I mean, that is my favorite, if I'm being totally honest. We've got, what else have we got? We've got, in fact, actually, I'm probably just doing this in here, right? Tree, secret assets, models. We've got probably another what we thinking? Where's the corridor X? What have I got at the moment? What did I have? Do corridor end? I literally can't even see the one I have. SM FileMesh SM corner. Why am I being stupid? Oh, it's this one here. Oh, great. I forgot that doesn't work. So I might try the AT one. Let's try corner 02. So the issue we have at the moment is that what's the issue we have at the moment? Oh yeah, main is kind of set up just to load this one mesh, so we need to gonna have to do some looping. So let's do const auto meshes to models to load, I guess. Models to load equals std vector. So we've got model back. And then we've got YF that. Okay, right. So we got that. In fact, actually, I personally prefer a comma at the end. What is that? That is a strange Twitch emote. I've just seen it pop up. That is... It's one of those. Okay. So what I want to do is like go const auto... nope. For const auto model to load in models to load, and then oh, hang on, I gotta make sure I don't create the scene more than once. So let's move this down. And then I'm gonna do all this in a big old loop. Okay. There we go, up. So this becomes model to load. That preserves all the names, and then at the end, I want to just load one of them, right? So my Clang format file is okay, and it's in the project file if you're that interested. I've never had anyone really pass much judgment on my Clang format files. Oh, I got to... I'm out for work tomorrow. Okay. This is true. Maybe we'll do a vote on whether we think this is going to work. Okay, so what I want to do now is do... what's the classic one is 888x. So let's continue with that. So let's just do const auto first model. I guess like start model equals models to load dot back. And then this will be start model. Oh, in fact, actually, no, I don't want to do this in a... Oh. So what I'm thinking is that I want to preload all the models, which means also loading all the textures, which means I have to call the material manager add on all of them. But I only want... actually, I think this is easier, right? Because what I could then do is I could just... It's a little bit dirty, this. I'll stick these here, and it just means that they will preserve the value of the last loop, right? So it'll still do all the bookkeeping, it'll still add them in, but they'll still exist out here, and I can just add that. Does that make sense? I will basically keep populate. Okay. Oh, and I need to clear them, don't I, at the start of each loop? Mesh data dot clear materials dot, because that's just like non-owning data, right? So I'll basically keep pushing those out, and then just a byproduct. That is not great structure. I think that is a little bit unintuitive, but for us, for now, for here, in the moment, I think it's fine. We can then just take the last thing that we populated of the materials and the mesh data, and then we can wang that into a single entity, and then this will just be. What? What do you like? What do you not like? This isn't like that being a string view, but I find that very hard to believe. Ugh, gross. Whatever. Okay, so I'm gonna just, I want to check it runs, starts, goes into the debug menu, and what we'll do is we'll poll on whether we can add the second entity. Oh, this is taking a little bit of time. We might have to do something about these horrific load times. I might have to go to release with debug symbols, because it's async is what's taking the most amount of time, I think. Okay, so this is fine. So let's check that we can go in here. Okay, check that we can click this and move this away. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to poll, can I click on this menu and add another entity? Okay, so that's the question. Will that work? Will that work? Of course, my mouse is locked to this. So I'll have to come out and start the prediction again. Nope, that's rage. No, don't leave me. And then on the YouTubes, we will start a poll. Place your bets. Place your bets. Is this going to work? First time. We'll get a whole new model piece. It will render perfectly. All the textures will be perfectly set. The lighting will work. We can move it around. It'll be beautiful. How long does the prediction go on for? Are we still predicting? Has it ended? I really don't understand Twitch. Okay, I think that's done. Anyone on Twitch? Is it over? Okay, fine. No, it's fine. And I'll end the poll on YouTube. That's it. That's all the time you get. Not hanging around all day. Okay, so Twitch was 73% no, so thanks. And YouTube was 64% yes, so thanks, guys. Something happened. Someone remember? Someone done something? I can't see. It's white on white. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. How very kind of you. Glad you're here. Welcome. Right, let's try this. So I'm going to click this and move this over to the side. And then I'm gonna... Oh, it's not there. Fuck. Okay, that doesn't count. It has to count if it's in the list, okay? Let's just quickly finish that. That is not the... Why did that happen? Oh, because I have to... Oh, lot. That's funny. I do have to load it. That's really funny. I do have to stick it in the manager hole. Name. What does that return? Span of const mesh view. Hype training. Span. Okay. If this compiles and runs, then we're back on. It's not like is anything difficult. Do you know what I mean? Like everything gets easier with time, but what I'm doing is a little bit tricky. But like coding, I don't think it's difficult to get into. Okay. Definitely don't want to do that on each submesh. Sorry, have assertions, people. Could be maybe look like a right fall. Right. No, because it's not the first attempt of the thing I wanted to test. Okay, let's just set expectations. Okay. No, because I know what the bug is. Oh, I know what the bug is, and I don't know whether I'm gonna, because I should have changed that. That's because we're still, when we pick it, we add. Where is it? We just add the last entity. We need to find it by name. Or do I count that as? I feel that's not. I still feel that's not actually exercise the thing I want to do yet, because because I've still not loaded that in. But it is a bug in. It's not a bug in any of the code we've changed to handle loading multiple entities, though. I did say when it's. You know what? You know what? I did say when it's in the list, so I will call that one. I'm gonna say that as no. I will not answer. Yeah, I think you are right. I did say when it's in the list, so that's fine. Okay. Okay, right. So now let's fix this problem. Actually, to be honest, there might be a little bit more work in here, because now I've got to. I've got to get the name out and then go to the mesh man. Get ooh. Yeah, is it? I need to construct an entity, basically, don't I? Which is fine. So for that, I need to get. Oh, where? Yeah, but where am I going to get all the? Where am I going to get the material index from? The issue is, right, I need to, at this point, I have the index here, right, the mesh selected index, so I know which one it is in that list, and I can get the name of it. The problem is, like, what do I do with that name? Okay, I can go to the mesh manager, all right, and I could be like, give me the mesh views for this, that's fine, and so that would give me all the sub meshes as they were. But then I'm going to need to go to an entity. I need to construct an entity. From that, I need a render entity, which takes a mesh view and a material index, and I've lost that connection now to what they are. Tricky. Because I won't know. I have no way of knowing at this point what the material index is, right? I'm thinking, and I don't know if it's a good idea. Do I load everything into the scene to start and have like a set that to false, and then make the renderer skip over those, but they're kind of preloaded, and then what the scene can do is it can then clone that entity, right? Because this is all non-owning data, right? Like you can give it a new name, but render entity, like mesh view, material index, AABB, those can just be copied. Part 3 will be Sunday. I can't think of another way. I can't think of an easier way of doing this, though, unless I have some sort of render entity manager, which sounds grim. And also, it's just the same thing, right? I'm just pushing them all in there. Scene could have a cache, like an entity cache or an entity builder, where they're all. Maybe that's what we want. Maybe scene. Okay. Scene needs to become a class at some point. Maybe scene could have some sort of something like auto create entity did string view void. All right. And then yeah, the glass is empty. I keep forgetting because I sort of absentmindedly grab it. So I'm just really thirsty, but I'm gonna have to suffer through. I could do, but then if you disappear, then people leave and they don't come back, and my entire self value is based on the streamer numbers that I get. People can't done this before. Does not work. Okay, I'm wondering if we need then some sort of like something like that. Okay, so what we can do is we can load the cache with like unique entities. Okay, and then when we create an entity, we just find the name and then we just add that to the entities list. What are we thinking? Are we thinking that's grim? This will then have invariants, so we will need to redo this whole file. Kids should be asleep. Because then we could do const auto entity cached equals entity cache dot third ranges find. We could even have a string map of name to thing to facilitate fast lookup. I don't think it's. Oh, actually, yeah. Entity cache. Yeah, let's string map that. Okay. So then we can do const auto cached equals entity cache dot find name. Expect cached does not equal third ranges send entity cache unknown entity name utils error hash include utils. I'm just going to hack this in here and then refactor afterwards, I think. String map. Yes. So I can see what I'm doing. It's true, yeah. If I hear a cat, I might go get a cat. Nice linkages. Thank you very much. I'm glad you noticed. Okay, so if we have the cache, then we can do basically entities. So let's do auto new entity equals entities dot and place back cached second. So copy that in there, and then we'll do new entity dot set transform. Just reset that. We could also have that passed in as an argument, but for now we'll just reset it to the origin. Okay, and then that. I think that's all we need. I don't think we even need to return a reference to that entity at the moment. Maybe we will later, but I think that's it. So then what we should be able to do is this should be entity theme dot entity cache so this. So in fact, this comes up to here, right? Okay, so now we do want to do all this in one big loop. That can go there. We no longer need to clear these because these can all come inside the loop. We're going to loop through each thing, add it into it, build the cache up first. Okay, so this will be. Let's need to go outside to remind me to do it. So we do scene dot entity cache name equals name to move render entities like that. And then right at the end, then we can just do scene dot create entity, and then we can do models to load dot back. That makes that a lot easier. I think we need to change this as well at some point. There's lots of things because this has the models prefix, so we know where to search for in the assets. It probably should just be that rather than giving the entity that. We give the entity any name. All right, okay. So now, back in debug renderer land, yeah, I just assumed FPS was kind of given in the nomenclature. I don't know if I'm happy to retitle the series if it's clearer. Yeah, I'm happy to burn a stream or two coming up just to pay back some tech debt, because I think we've got a little bit here and there. But I mean, that's to kind of do a review, a bit more of a slower paced stream, review some of the code, make some changes and stuff like that. So now what I should be able to do is, where's mesh names come from? Mesh manager names. So I should just be able to do scene dot create entity, mesh names str mesh selected index. Is that right? Why is it not like that? I feel like that's close. Just get the name of the thing that I've added and say, hey, go and get that from the cache because it's guaranteed to already be in there. Too far. Right. Oh, that was stupid. Ah, someone already said it. I just was not paying attention. We're getting better, Template. Don't care. Tell me where it's bad in my code. Main 276. That's what I want. What do you not like about that? No matching construction. Is that because this now needs to be the string view? Oh, sorry, it's the string. Really don't like that. I always thought there was an implicit custom string view to string, but I guess not. Oh, maybe there is. Unless it just needs the FPS entity. Is it? Is it trying to? I wonder if it's deducing it as an initializer list. Nope. How strange. Okay, fine. What was it not like? No matching function called entity. So this is the internals of map, right? This is it trying. Oh, I guess tuple because it's construction with a key. What's required? What's required from my here? What's it? What's? Oh, it's just you can't. You can't stick an entity in because it doesn't know how to hash it. Oh Christ! What would the hash of an entity be? That is not the right answer, by the way. Just FYI, map is never the right answer. But I just want to see if I can get it to work. It's got no find on it. Oh, hang on, because there you go. It doesn't have heterogeneous lookup, obviously. The string map is just a unordered map with, but with all the heterogeneous lookup gubbins installed. But I just wanted to see if I can get it to work. Oh, because we won't have a less than operator. Oh, fine. I've had enough of your bullshit. The old-fashioned way. Again, Just a little bit of technical debt. That's fine. What do you not like about that? Because it's find if, isn't it? Oh, you do only need it for the key. What am I talking about? Why am I... Oh, sorry, it's late, and you're right. I only need it for the key, which it should have because string is hashable. I'm so sorry. I just... what an absolute nightmare. Oh, it's just late, and I really goofed up there. I do apologize. That was not... That wasn't cricket, that. You just stare at hard at something for so long, and you're like, well, obviously that's the issue. Ah. Right, I want to end on a high now, not on that miserable note. No, my luck, that's like the one time someone comes in, watches it, and goes, so this guy clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. Unknown entity models SM corner FBX, and that was at main 279. So that's adding it, that's asking it to be loaded there, but I've definitely pushed it back with this name. I don't know why I'm logging it actually, because I was going to log adding the entity to the cache, but that's done outside because it's not a proper class yet. Let's do it here. UFPS log debug adding to cache. Okay. Quite long load times as well, which is a little bit upsetting. I might have to go rel release with debug info. If you look, it's I was going to say shit that. So interesting. Why has it not got the okay? Obviously got some confusion here. I guess because the name, because we stripped that off internally. So that's yes, in the model loading we strip off the prefix. That's fine. Right, we'll get there in a minute. Yes, yeah. When I was like, oh, this might be a problem, turns out was a problem. Was a problem. This is going to blow up, is it? Ah, well done. Yes. Is that what you're talking about? Am I in a loop? You're right. I want to do SM. Getting to the end. Right. Now we're good spot. That's gonna work. Oh, if I typoed it. Getting tired. Corner. Right. Corner 0188x. I think 88 is the dimensions. Oh, don't. If this works, then commit this up. Refactor scene, I think. That'll probably take us to time. And then we'll be in a good place to do something fun, hopefully next time. Okay, right. And it crashed. Oh! That just died, that. I saw it for a brief second. Did you see it? For a second, it was pretty sweet. So actually, does it have I broken adding it with different meshes? Can I add the same mesh still, basically, is the question I have to ask myself. Let's break out a debugger. Let's move this up way and then do 8. Ooh. That's new. Okay, so ImGUI doesn't like that. That's fine. Those do need unique names. That's fine. And this is fine, but as soon as I go, like, I'll have one of these. Okay. So look around before it crashes. Well, this is nice. Well, I like the little loose wire aesthetic. Have I got part of another level clipping through this? I think I have. All right, let's see if I can move it. Well, it might just be when I go to select here. No, it's non-deterministic. Grand. Really, really love that for me. Really, really love that for me. This is nice. Oh, nice little detail. A little normal map here. Some shiny flooring. Very nice. I could see me cruising around here with some sort of weapon. Wait, can we add another one? I wonder if it was it ImGUI having a fit? Because it really, I'd say that's got a much better AABB kind of around itself. Let's push that over there. Right, so can I have another one? Okay, well. Oh, we've crashed. Oh, no. Oh, it's because there's gadgets over there. Oh, well. I would take Unreal Tournament. Like Game of the Year edition, I would take that. What happened? Oh, I think Did I get like a... There's a quick fix for this, and it's not... new static auto counter equals 0 ZU. This is grim, by the way, but so is most of what I've done today. Oh, I can't change the name. I need to be able to basically. There's some finagling that needs to go on here because I bet you need to be able to clone the name, the entity, but give it a new name. I could have a custom copy constructor which appends a digit to the name. Is that weird? I think that might be a problem for Sunday. I think what I need to do now is, because we've done quite a lot of changes, let's just get this committed first. So I can discard that. So this is basically cache entities and then create from that. Scene now needs a bit of a refactor, but I don't know if it's worth doing that now. Let's do it now, okay? And then that way for Sunday we're kind of ready to go and do something hopefully fun. I don't know what fun is anymore, but source core scene.cpp. Okay. So let's do class public context. So that still needs to be in the header file, right? Question mark. It's a little bit annoying. And then we're gonna have auto entities const third span const entity. And then we're gonna have auto insert into cache. Insert into cache, is that a great term to use? I think just cache entity might be better. And then we can have third string view. To be honest, I'll just pass the entity in. And then we just move it into the container. Void, and then the other thing we need is auto camera const camera ref, and then auto light const light data ref. I think that's pretty much all we need. So then we can do hash include core scene namespace class scene. Nope. Don't know what I'm doing. Get these yank 93G. Pull those up. Okay. So return entities. basically the same as this, isn't it? So cached is that. Hang on. Okay, fine. So, Loits. Have I got Loits somewhere? Or did I say that? Okay. So cache equals that. So let's do hash include span, hash include ranges, hash include. Jesus H Christ, right. My goodness, I am getting tired. Okay. Hash include core camera. Hash include core entity. Hash include. That's it. And then hash include string view. I just realized not what I missed. Hash include utils error. Okay. Find that. Expect cache to equal stud ranges cend entity cache already exists name, and then we're just going to do entity cache dot pushback stud move entity. Okay. Okay, right, so that's that. And then back to scene.h. So create entity, this needs to go into scene. And then this becomes fe that, that, and then that. Redefinition. Oh, of course, because I've just still got it defined in here. Look at that. It's a bit of a shame I have to have the implementation in here for this. That'll be fine. Okay, bish, bash, bosh. I think we are nearly there. Oh, and then of course I do have to have a constructor as well. For these references. So mesh manager, material manager, text manager. So let's do scene, mesh manager, what was it? Mesh manager, material manager, material manager, and texture manager. Okay, grab that, go scene, implementation, scene. Okay, and then what's the order of the things we need to initialize? So let's do this. Let's do entities, entity cache, mesh, the mesh manager, mesh manager, material manager, and finally the texture I've just realized something else I'm missing as well. Camera needs to come from somewhere. And lights can be... Oh, they're gonna have to come as well from somewhere as well. That's a little bit annoying. Okay, fine. Camera, light, data, light, data. Do that there. Make that a comma. Bosh. So move camera. Move light. Data. Right. Everyone still with me? Oh, okay, fine. I just call it lights. Which means this really should be called lights. Otherwise it is confusing. Okay. That was a mad flurry there. QRS. Okay, let's start finding out where this is broken, because it's going to be absolutely bloody everywhere. Oh, it's broken in a header file somewhere, isn't it? Yeah, scene entities, debug renderer. Let's start there. Let's start the renderer. That should be relatively easy. Oh, interesting. We pull the material manager and the texture manager out. Oh, that would make sense. That would make sense. Okay, fine. Oops, nope. I'm not sure I want the scene to be owning all these, but it's kind of fine for now. Well, you're just gonna the references you could consider like a handle, right? Although the problem is that like I don't know where else they would go because they're basically globals, which I don't really like. I could go down to Ogre. Has just all the manager classes are just global, just singletons. I've got Manahar there. Okay, fine. Quick refactor in and out. So everywhere there's a manager, this is going to need to basically become a function. Oh. But I also have to pass them into the constructor, so I could probably preserve them there. Oh well, it is what it is. We can look at that later. Okay, debug renderer. So it's not used in that many places, to be honest. Like, because the only thing you really do is a scene. Oh shoot, I can't consider this. I think this needs to be like that. I think I do want to be able to mutate them, right? Right. God, this code's a mess as well. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? This is not particularly fun, and I do appreciate that. Alright, I think that's nearly fixed them all. Lights needs to be mutable as well. To be honest, I think a lot of this needs to be mutable. Maybe not the... Oh, camera's going to need to be... Yeah, it's all going to need to be mutable, right? Scene. Yeah, I mean, we could make it const based on whether the parent object is const. So using deducing this or something, well, actually even just overloads. So entities can hand out either a const span if it's on a const one. But I just, for what we need now, I think it's fine. And then... like I said, I think we might tie this up again in the future, but for now, it's looking pretty good. All right. That's terrifying. I'm just going to ignore that. So somewhere here, we're going to need to construct the scene so that so get rid of entities, then these become this. Get rid of these. Camera can become that. Light data can become that. It should just work. It's a shame you lose the aggregate initialization. Entity. So this then becomes scene dot cache entity. Name. Like that. Main. I mean, it might work. I've just got to get the compiler to agree with me first. Renderer 213. Missed that one, didn't I? Oh, that's gonna be, we're getting there. We're certainly getting there. Command buffer, the classic. What do you not like about this? This doesn't take anything to do with the scene, does it? Oh, entity to go, yeah. I do need the const overload. Oh, what a bloody pain. Can I do this? Can I do this with deducing this and change what the return type is? Span entities dot data entities dot data plus entities dot size. Yeah. Oh, hang on. Of course, it's self, isn't it? What I need there is I think what I need here is give me a second. Using t equals third type traits conditional t third is const self const and entity and then in fact, actually, I don't want that then. I want to use project templates, right? Yeah, but what I want to do is I need to deduce the return type as a const span, right? Well, I guess if I return a span, will it deduce it to be a const element if it's called on a const object, or do I need to coerce it? Is what I'm saying. Template argument for non-type template parameter must be an expression. Oh, because I'm going to want is const. I want this const v, don't I? Yeah, so that's what I want, right? I think that's fine. So this is just a bit of template magic, which basically will create this alias t, and if the thing that I'm being called on is const, it will be either type const entity or it will be entity, and then I can just stick this in the span. Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think it could deduce the inner type to be const just based on the fact that the outer type is const, but I think that's right. Sure, it's better than writing that code, writing two separate functions. Honestly, I'm not going to go too much later on this. I might have to pick this up on Sunday because I am exhausted. Command buffer. Yeah, it doesn't like it. So it knows that self is const scene, right? So it's got that. I'm really worried it can't figure this out as const. Yes, but what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get the compiler to figure it out for me based on whether the thing I've called on is const itself. Oh, no worries. I'm glad it was useful. Yes, you're right. On what? Self? Because T, my little T here will never be a reference type, right? Because these are here. But you sort of like stood remove reference T self. Oh, I absolutely nailed it. Nice one. Good job. Why can I not check is const on a reference type then? Like, why did I need the remove reference there? I could probably sit down and puzzle it out. So these should, in theory, all line up. Yeah, okay, man, I got it. Yes, you're right. Yes. Thank you. Seamless. Absolutely seamless. Oh, well, that isn't it. That's nice. Okay, cool. It's not crashed since. Nice little bit of C++ 23 deducing this there for you, so that was a little bit of fun. This is basically a refactor seen to be a class. Yeah, now just everything else. Okay, right. I'm done. I'm spent. Stream 20. Not going to be doing a build yet because I still think there's more of the level editor to do. I think for level editor to be kind of done, or at least before we move something else on, I think the big features are we need snapping on the movement handles, so it keeps everything's always aligned. Probably need to load a few more interesting things in there. I definitely think we want to render the lights as a square so we can click on them and move them around. Maybe tidy up the debug UI a bit. Fix the unoptimized picking, and then I'll probably call it there. Maybe some really super basic serialization so we can just bring back the level that we had before. But yeah, I think, and then I don't want to go after that. I want to go back and do some more rendering tech. We definitely need to do like tone map. I keep saying this, we definitely need to do like HDR, tone mapping, that kind of thing. I want to do Bloom. We got to do SAO. We got to do a few other bits and pieces. I want to do like aperture on the camera. What's it called? Like it reacts to different sensitivities of light. I can't remember. Literally cannot think of the word off the top of my head. But okay, well, thank you very much for hanging out with me for the evening. It's been fun. I think we got quite a lot done, actually. It doesn't look it, but we did quite a good refactor and fixed a few bugs and hopefully we had some fun. Wrote some interesting C++ exposure. That's the word I'm looking for. Exposure. Thank you. Other than that, I will see you all. Well, we're probably streaming on Sunday. I'll hang around on Discord for a bit. Otherwise, I will see you all anon.